Thanks, Concord. I think, for the record, I think we need to clarify from a previous speaker there that in Galway alone, the property tax, when his party decided to bring in a property tax, that 12 million was collected off the people, and the equalisation fund was sent to Angela Merkel, decided by a person he supports. On top of that, the water that he drinks, the gas that keeps him warm, the electricity that keeps the light in Dublin, all comes from rural Ireland. The sludge that comes out of their septic tanks and goes to treatment plant is spread in rural Ireland, and above all, the brains that run the country, most of them are from rural Ireland. So we'll just clarify that to start with. First of all, Minister, I welcome the opportunity on this debate. The one thing I'll start off with, Minister, is there are people at the moment trying to buy houses, and it's on a video, you have to look at it. And no more than you or anyone else, when we go on video on television, we probably look a bit better than what we really are. And I would ask you on the 5th of March that those people buying houses, young couples, would you for God's sake let them in and have a look at the house? There's only one of them or two of them going in walking around. They're not going to spread the virus around the place, and I would ask you to do that. Second of all, I will ask you one thing. Don't have someone from NAMA or something on this Land Development Agency. I, in principle, support the Land Development Agency. I'll be very clear about that, providing that it's done in a certain way. I believe we need to take the brains of delivery from the private sector to spearheaded, not on big salaries, let me be very clear, but paid on output and paid on delivery. But before you can deliver houses, there's one company in this country, Irish Water, and if you don't have the infrastructure of water, and if you don't have the roads going in and the electricity going into a site, you will build absolutely nothing. So if they aren't funded properly, and there's 35,000 units around this country owned by the state, and unfortunately a lot of them, because there isn't a sewerage scheme going in, or there isn't the infrastructure of what we call roads and sewers. And if that isn't done, we are in trouble. The reason a Land Development Agency, if it's resourced properly with the proper people put in, a department has 10 years and it hasn't delivered. It has been an unmitigated disaster. Councils have been depleted for the last 10, 12 years. And the other thing, Minister, for God's sake, would someone bring in a bit of common sense? A 3 or a 4 or a 2-bedroom house in Galway, in Donegal or in Dublin, the inside of it should be the same. Not 5 geniuses sending paper around to each other deciding, well, we'll put a different design in here. The inside of the house can be the same in every county of a 2, 3, 4-bedroom, whatever you're building. The facade and the outside, to comply with planning, is the only thing you have to change. I think we need to make sure that affordable housing, when I talk about affordable housing, you talk about a house that's 200 to 250,000 in Dublin, a 3 or 4-bedroom house. Not the figures I'm hearing of 400,000, because you wouldn't, a couple together at what they're earning wouldn't be enough. And the one thing that needs to be done, this procurement process, are we going to let another conglomerate builder in to do with this big announcement, oh, such a one is going to do 500 houses? If we're shrewd about it, if there's 500 houses in an estate that we're going to build, we let in Johnny Small builder and say you're getting 10 houses there, you have your roads, sewers in, so all they have to do is bring the pipework out to that, and when they have them 10 built, let them on to the next 10. But you put in 5 or 6 different small Johnny builder, not this big conglomerate that can be screwing you day after day after day for more and more what has been overlooked in drawings. And they will screw you. We see this Children's Hospital, what's going on. We see the type of contract that's there. But this is ways of helping the smaller builder deliver in their budget, not go through a procurement and just because you're having such a turnover, bye-bye, and that's the end of it. There's one worrying thing though, and it has been brought up earlier on, that smaller towns around, especially rural Ireland, in this framework, this famous framework 2040 that we're talking about, in the county development plans now, if there isn't services of sewerage, and unfortunately a decision was made by the previous government that the community sewerage schemes was scrapped and that you had to tie into an Irish water. Well, just live in rural Ireland. There are some places in rural Ireland that communities run the water for years and years, and Irish water wasn't required, and a good job wasn't required because it couldn't cater for all that had to be done. But in those small towns, if they haven't the services, they are going to be dezoned under year plan, and correct me if I'm wrong, which will leave ghost towns and undeveloped towns right around the smaller rural areas. And I am asking you, Minister, to please remember this and get those people the opportunity to go back. We need a lot of houses built fairly rapid. I would encourage, and I've said it to the Minister, that the building of the buildings that's being built or needs to be built, and the stop on building at the moment, it needs to go ahead on the 5th of March for the simple reason we need houses, but we also need the infrastructure, be it the shop that's being built or the other stuff that's being built, because for the simple reason, in fairness to the building sector, they have been pretty good in the line of complying with all the different regulations. And it's rather unusual to see someone building a shop down the road in a local rural area being stopped, someone coming from Northern Ireland being able to finish council houses on the border, and if you're a multinational, you can work away because you can get under the regulation. And I would ask you to open it up to those people, Minister, but above all, the couples that's trying to buy houses, for God's sake, let them see the house inside. I am intending, or I expect in the coming days, I've spoke to the department, I'm expecting a briefing on some of these things. But we need to make sure that if you're setting up an agency, it's not a talking shop, it's not another cosy cartel or a front for this department that in my opinion hasn't delivered for 10 years, and that it's not going to be a disaster. And that's the one thing we have to watch. And if you put in the proper people, you poach people that have a proven track record at delivery. You don't put in every Tom, Dick and Harry. And if that is done, and done properly, they should be able to deliver houses at an affordable rate, both to the local authorities and to young couples that are working around this country that badly need housing. So all I can say, Minister, I am waiting for the next few days in principle, and I'm making it very clear, I support, and I've always said it, somebody to take this by the scruff of the neck. But let me be clear that I don't want to see someone that had a cosy old job somewhere else just gone in for the sake of going in. This should be a team with their sleeves rolled up, ready to go. And the other thing, Minister, that's causing a major problem around this country, where you go for planning permission, you go direct to An Bord Pleanála for developments over 100 houses. And damn me, but I've watched around Dublin in the last 3 months, and I'd say there's 1,500 houses at the moment stopped over a bat or some other thing that they have dreamed up about in these areas. Or shadow. Yeah, that's another thing now that's blocking it. And if we keep going down this road of objection, it's going to block everything. So I'm asking you, Minister, first of all, I expect to get more information from your department. As I said, I support it in principle, but if they don't put it in the way I am saying, then it will work out another quango. Thank you.